All right. Welcome back to the stream. It is Monday, June 8th. Happy to be back working on my beginner project again as a beginner game dev, as you can tell by how janky this looks. That's all right. Got to start somewhere. Got to learn from somewhere. But this, to be real, this was the result of me trying to understand how landscape materials even work. I haven't fully grasped that yet, because ultimately this is from an asset pack that I collected. But clearly the asset in the pack does not look like this. You know, I don't think anyone's gonna look at this right here, this grid texture, and be like, ooh, I want that. Now, what it actually looked like is, let's see, map, island. So this sand material actually comes from this pack here. And part of my journey is figuring out how this all even works. And where did we leave off? We left off. Oh my gosh. Talk about shaking up my whole desk. Thanks, cat. No. Sorry, my mouse pad is not for your butt right now. I actually need my hand to go there. Your butt's gonna have to find somewhere else to park itself for a little bit. Okay, so I left off trying to understand. It was real. No, I'm not going to pretend like I remember what the name of it was. Let me find the file. Let's start with the file, because part of my lesson was mainly just, it had to do with landscapes, specifically with creating, I don't remember what it's called, but I kind of remember what the purpose of this functionality is. So essentially, instead of like having a bunch of different materials and textures loaded in at the same time, it's taking like a real-time reading of what's in that scene, and then what the player is actually loading into their own memory is like an on-the-fly generated material or texture, almost like it's all in one single file. I can't remember what the name of that was, what the actual feature for Unreal that it was aimed for. So let's figure out how I even found that was something I needed to figure out. Girl, sorry, I sound a little distracted because my cat is over here actively like nibbling on my watch. I'm trying to stop it. Okay. Landscape. Okay, so I was in the it was a material. What's it? Oh, I did not mean to close out the details panel. Oh boy. All right. Oh no. How do I get that back? Details. All right, details. There we go. I don't think it was in this folder. Is it in the materials? Because I know it says landscape, but I think what I'm looking for is in the materials folder. You know what would actually help? What I'm going to do right now? I'm just going to go to my own browsing history, because I was looking up the documentation for it last week at this time. So let's do that. Plus, I only use this Chrome account specifically for streaming, so it should be really easy to find. Runtime virtual texturing. That's what it was. Because I think essentially this is set up using runtime virtual texturing. But I don't know what in the world that even means, to be quite honest. I thought up until this point, I just use the landscape tool, sculpt the landscape, you know, slap a material onto it and call it good. That's what I thought was the process up until this point. But it turns out, oh no, that is not what you're supposed to do. I mean, you can do that. I think it is possible to do that, and there are games made that way. But the practice that was used here on this example map, I'm pretty sure took heavy advantage of runtime virtual texturing. So that's what I need to understand how that even works. And I feel like it's just material. I swear there were more, was it textures? Maybe it was a textures folder. That's what it was. Okay, tropical island, texture, landscape texture. Okay, here we go. The RVT stuff here. I don't know how in the world any of this works. But we've got, let's see. Texture sample, no. Okay, so I don't think this is where the runtime virtual texture was set up. But wherever the asset is, the landscape asset, oh, actually, I think it's this one right here. Not that. It's like a card, or I don't really know what that is, to be honest. Fog card. I think it's supposed to be 2D fog that maybe triggers randomly. Maybe that's why I don't see anything right now. It's just a plane for fog to populate, maybe in relation to other cards. Anyway, what I was looking for was here. Okay, so landscape right here. Got landscape 2, electric boogaloo, but landscape 1 right here. What even is that? What is this down here? What? There's a separate landscape down here for, oh, is this supposed to be like a bottom of the seafloor texture? Maybe. Okay, anyway, back on topic. Landscape. Right here, over under the virtual texture, this draw in virtual textures section, where there's 2 array elements, index 0 and 1 of the array, but the first element is RVT underscore landscape, which just looks like a block, or like a pixelated block right here. I don't understand what that is or how that works. And there's RVT landscape height. So this was something I didn't really get an answer for last time. I don't really understand how it works, but I'm not sure if this RVT landscape height texture was created for the purpose of generating this landscape. Or I should say, I don't know if it was imported for the purpose of generating the landscape, or if this is like an automatic texture created after generating the landscape in Unreal, like using the landscape tool. I don't know if this is an output of something that another tool in Unreal created, or if this was separately created and imported to use as an input for a tool. That's what I'm not entirely clear on. Because if that's the case, if I can just, I hope it's an input. I hope it's an input. Because if I can make a whole landscape just with a, Procreate and a, what looks like to be a white brush, or a white, like whatever brush setting, with like the opacity just like slightly turned down so you can layer over it and create higher densities of white. If I can just do that, that'd be great. That'd be so much easier to create landscapes with, in my opinion. Which I would like to think that that's how this was made. Because just trying to understand how someone comes in here with a brush, with the landscape brush, and just like sculpts all this with the in-engine tools, I don't understand that. Obviously, I know the rocks and everything; these are separate assets, but just the landscape itself down here, this, like the sand, I could not imagine going to this amount of depth. So I'm going to assume that if this is a texture someone imported for the purpose of an input into a tool. But that tool that it's inputting, or that's using it as an input, no idea how that works. Like, not in the slightest. I know what the purpose of it is for the most part, but I have no idea what pieces plug together or what does what. Okay, so back to just more reading. Sorry, y'all. But a lot of this is me learning too. So, that's what the fall off the edge. All right. So, we have, I think this is about where I got to last time, but whether or not I absorbed all this, probably not. I was kind of feeling sick last week too. The runtime virtual texture asset contains the configuration details that will be used when creating the runtime virtual texture in the scene. Okay. So this is like a recipe that I have. The runtime virtual texture is essentially a recipe that I'm creating so that the chef in real time as the game's running can cook up the actual runtime virtual texture of the scene. This is the linchpin that connects the RVT system. This is the linchpin. Gosh, I'm so good at pronouncing words. My phonics, crazy. Think of this as the linchpin in the RVT system that connects your materials and components in the scene that are rendered to the RVT. Okay, so yeah, it's like the recipe. I have to make the recipe for it. The RVT asset is referenced by the following components. Each runtime virtual texture volume placed in the scene is assigned a single RVT asset. Okay, so this is like your cooking area. This is what you're designating a kitchen for your meal to be cooked in. I think that might be a good metaphor. But it seems like everything inside the volume is what's affected by the recipe. So it's kind of like you're telling your chef where your ingredients are. This is a recipe. This is where you can find the ingredients for that recipe. Oh gosh, sometimes I get paranoid thinking that I muted my microphone because it's literally just a little touch sensor right up top here. So you watch, you're not going to hear me right now. But now you can hear me. You can hear me now because I unmuted it. Sometimes I'll touch it by accident and won't realize it for a bit. Before a component is rendered to the RVT through the RVT volume, its materials must use the virtual texture material domain or use properly set up RVT material expressions. I don't know what that means. Let's read it again. Maybe it'll stick. Okay. Before a component is rendered to the RVT through the RVT volume. Okay. So before a ingredient is cooked into the meal from the pantry. I'm trying to connect these. Its materials, maybe. Okay, so these are the actual ingredients themselves. Wait, no, this is the ingredient. What would you call the ingredient? The component or the material? I feel like they both be ingredients. Okay. Maybe the material is more like an inventory system, and the component is like the actual ingredient itself. Okay, now it's a cat party up here. I love you girls. I do. I love you too very much, but I'm actively busy right now. I need this keyboard that you guys are trying to lay on. I'm sorry. Sorry. You guys can lay off to the sides if you want, but on my keyboard, in my mouse zone, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, girls. Apologize for breaking your hearts, but I got to set some boundaries. All right. And I get distracted, and then, man, I'm really, really bad about getting back on track. Let's see. Okay. Where was I? All right. Order of operations. So before a component is rendered to the RVT through the RVT volume, its materials must use the virtual texture material domain or use properly set up RVT material expressions. RVT material expressions. Create a new RVT asset from the content browser using the right-click context menu or the Add New button under the materials texture. Okay. Double click the asset to open and configure. Okay. Use this window to define the size, tile size, and type of material attributes supported by the runtime virtual texture. Okay. From the right-click context menu, you have a couple of actions that can help you manage your RVT assets and materials. Find materials using this. Fix material. Hey, Bacon Guy. How's it going, man? Good to see you. I'm just right now crash coursing on runtime virtual texturing. Just because I was going through like dissecting this example project, just trying to understand how to make a landscape using these assets here. And I'll show you what I came up with without doing any research or any context. And it's not pretty, that's for sure. Go to, why am I in the assets? This, okay, here we go. Project core. Actually, no, it's going to be under maps, levels. I think it was map 0. I tried texturing. So this is what happens when you don't know how any of the tools that you just started using work. You get this. Not too proud of it. So when Excited Abel dragged in was definitely the right word, dragged in a landscape material with sand on it and saw this, Abel then realized, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I got to do more digging. I got to learn more. And then that took me down the path of understanding how, what is his name? Zenscape? It's like Zach something. What the developer here, that led me down the rabbit hole of trying to understand how this developer even created the landscape that he did. Okay, so let's go back to Zenscape bundle, island. And when I come into this example project here, and I click on a piece of the landscape, I can see now over here, there's this whole virtual texture section, and there's an array right here called draw in virtual textures with 2 elements. Index 0 is this like pixelated RVT underscore landscape file, which I have no idea what that means. And also this RVT landscape height file, which I can kind of infer that this is obviously related to the actual height layout of this landscape, but I don't know if this file is an input for Unreal to then generate the landscape, or if this file is an output from the artist or dev coming in here and like sculpting this landscape. Like, I don't know if this is an output or not, or if it's an input. So that's also part of my confusion here. Is like, what the heck even are these? Why are these over here? What is virtual texture? What is draw in virtual textures? I was essentially just going back and forth comparing the details panel on his landscape and my landscape to understand what the problem was and what the differences are. And it seems like the main difference is this like runtime virtual texturing. Unless I'm missing something, unless there's like a piece that I'm not seeing here that I just don't understand, because I'm still kind of a beginner. As much as I want to feel like I've learned a decent amount, I'm still very much a very early beginner. So I don't know how this works. And I'm not even going to begin to understand right now to know what's going on down here. Like, I don't landscape sand. Like, I don't know what's going on with this, like this Star Trek Borg ship effect right here. I understand these are normal maps, which I get normal maps are for the PBR, like light or like shadowing of a flat texture. And then the height map, okay, is what actually creates that raised appearance. Fullness of rocks. Oh, it's like okay. It's like a shine difference, I think is maybe what these are doing. Like creating little spots of shininess on the rocks. So all that to say, there's a lot going on here that I just don't understand. So I need to break all this down and get down to the root of how this was even made before I can start trying to make anything comparable in quality, even just using the pre-made assets that he's provided me with, to even know how to use them at all. I feel like there's a lot more that I need to learn. So that's what I'm doing. You been up to anything interesting this week? All right, so I was on volume, runtime virtual texture volume. The runtime virtual texture volume is used to place the RVT asset in the scene. This volume should encompass the actor that it will render to when the material is set up. Generally, this should be a landscape or surface terrain or surface terrain-like primitive. Okay. Any primitives sampling from or writing to the runtime virtual texture should be inside the bounds of the volume. Sampling from or writing to. Is there ever a situation where an asset would sample from but not write to, or vice versa? Not sample from but write to the runtime virtual texture? So I thought the point of a runtime virtual texture was to ultimately like assess everything that's in that volume, take the materials or textures from it, and then write it to a much more efficient runtime texture that's essentially all one texture. So I guess I am definitely missing something, because based off of that explanation that I thought I understood, based off that understanding, I would think that everything that is sampling from is also writing to runtime virtual texture. You should be learning about regular landscape materials. RVT is on top of that. Oh, okay. So I should start from a different knowledge point or knowledge base. Optimizing. Okay, I guess this is under optimizing and debugging, isn't it? So is this is really just like an optimization method? People typically don't set up runtime textures off the bat. That's more of a thing they come in and do after the fact, maybe? Oh, link, nice. Thank you for that link. All right, creating landscape materials. After you finish sculpting the landscape, you can now add some materials to it so that it better resembles something you see in the real world. Something we see in the real world. I'm really great at like ignoring words that are there and just filling in other words that sound like they fit. But before you do this, you need to first set up some folders to organize the content that you create and migrate into your project. Start by creating a new folder called Landscape in your project's content folder. Then inside the Landscape folder, create the following 3 folders: Materials, Resources, and Textures. When completed, you should have something that looks like the following. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do that then. let's drag this over here. Okay. So I can read that. Oh gosh, I completely lost my place when it got dragged over. Where is that? Okay, there it is. All right, so that would be under content. No, not under content. It'd be under probably environment. Well, if I'm creating the blueprint for it, I would think, well, no, I probably wouldn't be put under assets here. Not assets, sorry, under core. Yeah, I'll put this in environment. I feel like that makes the most sense. Landscape. Sources. Materials. Textures. All right. Materials, resources, and textures. Migrating textures. Now that you have the folders in place, it's time to migrate some textures from the Landscape Mountains Learning Project. Oh, well, maybe I should go open that project. You can find this project on Fab in the Epic Games Launcher or on the Fab website. See what it tells me to migrate over, just to make sure there's not something comparable I can just grab from these other asset packs. Okay. Oh, these are like specific file names it's telling me to move over. Yeah, that's going to be kind of hard to extrapolate what the comparable file would be. Well, I'm probably just going to migrate that then. So let's go to Fab. Landscape Mountains. Okay. Wonder if this is still accurate. Oh, this is just It Happy's page that it's searching. Oh, limited time free. More free stuff. Mega survival tools. Those look like some survival tools. All right. Just claim these real quick. Modular sci-fi. Advanced grid inventory system. Sure, it's free. And it's all yours. Yay. And Mega Tools. Sure. All right, cool. That's all done. Landscape Mountains. And view and launcher. Add to project. I'm missing a pop-up here somewhere. No. Add to project. Add to project. Add to project. I don't think it wants to add the project. So let's just go to the Unreal Engine tab instead. Hit no on that. Landscape Mountains. There we go. Add the project. No compatible projects found. What version is it compatible? I have to download a whole another version of Unreal just for this to work? Oh, okay. So this, yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's probably not going to help me then. It's compatible with versions 4.1 through 4.24 and 4.4 to 4.9. It's not compatible with 5 at all. I'll try. I'm interested to see what happens if I just try to do it anyway. Please select closest alternative version, 4.9. I just Thanos snapped this whole list of available versions. What was happening? What? 4.24. Guess. Wait, can I not? Yeah, we're gonna see what happens here. Files from Landscape Mountains already exists in this project. You want to replace them. What? I feel like this is gonna break my project. Or at least the asset dump project, I mean. Just completed just now. Oh wait, no, 4.9 is right there. I see. I see. So I just created a whole separate project for it, and then also did not install 4.9. But so if I double click on this right now, is it going to try to launch 4.9? Let's hit a fat save all on this real quick. Very curious what's about to happen right now. Upgrading from default player input class from player input to it just like upgraded a bunch of stuff over on the right here. This feels illegal. Just anticipating a crash here. Oh, it launched two projects at the same time. So we're going to close that. Don't save. All right, now we have this one. Also equally frozen. Oh. Okay. Okay. We're navigating around a 4.9 project inside of 5.7. This feels illegal. Okay. All right. Well, we're here. So what are we doing here? Unreal Engine. Okay. It's time to migrate some textures from the landscape mountains learning project that you have some textures to work with. You can find this project on Fab and Unreal. Yep. Okay. You can find the textures located in example content. Oh, is my whole file structure just... My whole file structure is the old file structure for the old project. What? Content. Game, example content, landscapes, textures. It installed into asset dump, but added a new .u project file so it shows up as two projects. Gotcha. Thought something was funky about that. Content. Where did it put the assets here? Like where is this located? Browse to asset. Under content, assets, landscape. Okay. But then, wait a minute. Landscape, texture. There's no textures in here. What? Let's click on a landscape and try to find the texture from the details panel. Landscape material. Okay, we got the material here. Let's open. Well, I think that's an instance. This is also an instance. Landscape. Textures. Oh, right there. Textures. Okay. It's not under landscape, but okay. I need T underscore LS underscore grass underscore 1 underscore D. I'm going to type that. I'm not going to scroll through. LS. Okay. O1D. Okay. Can I... Is there like a select checkbox? No. I'm going to have them all open in the same window here and then control click select them, right? I can control click things. Yeah, I can. Okay. New plan. T underscore. These are all T underscore. That didn't. Right? Every single file in here is going to start with T underscore. That was a silly thing to do. All right, gotcha. Okay. Full grass D is one of them. Full grass N is another. Ice noise N is another one right there. My editor froze. Okay, I'm good. All right, now I need T underscore LS. That'd be, all right, LS grass underscore 01 underscore D and then underscore 1 underscore N. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, these are the files. It literally says to only migrate these textures. It doesn't say anything about migrating a material. So I'm assuming I'm going to use these textures to create a material then. All right, so we're going to migrate. It's under actions, right? Yeah, actions, migrate. They've selected. Okay. Okay. All right, so this needs to go into the content folder. And it has to be the content folder, if I'm not mistaken. I then can move it to other folders. Okay. Cool. And then it says create landscape material. Okay, so yeah, we're done. We're done here. Done with this project. Let's put this abomination to rest. Okay. Did I do that thing again where I migrated it to its own project? I fear I may have done that thing again where I migrated an asset into its own project. Because I'm not seeing it here in the content folder. Okay. Yeah, I could have swore content. I don't know. All right. Well, back into this project we go. Feels like I'm digging up someone's grave right now. Having to pull this back out. All right, so full grass D, full grass N, T, ice noise N. Oh, it's down here. And then LS grass 1D, LS grass 1N. Yeah, that's right. 5 selected, right? Yeah, 5 selected. Okay. Right click. Asset actions. Migrate. Okay. GitHub, logging prototype, content. Like, am I missing something here? It's empty. Oh no, it's there. It's already there. I see where it is now. Okay. It's there. Let's cancel that. I found it in the file explorer here. It's under assets, under content, assets, textures, and then right here. Found it. Okay. I can't even do recent. Okay. Oh, I clicked file, the file explorer again when I already had it open on my other screen. Okay. All right, so assets, textures. All right, beautiful. That's what we want. Okay, I need to be stricter with my organization here. I need this window to be my Project Slime window. Like everything to do with Project Slime is this window. Everything else, asset bundles, you know, migrated assets, whatever, is going to be this window here on the right. So assets, textures, there we go. Okay. So now what I need to do is creating landscape material. You can create a material for your landscape. Maybe I should just try talking slower. Sometimes I try to talk too fast and I'll trip over words. You can create a material for your landscape by following these steps. Navigate to the materials folder in the content browser. Okay. That would be under slime, not core. Materials folder. Do some people just have like just one single materials folder that they throw all their materials in? Or is that just like how it starts out in the project? Because they're saying like go to your material folder from the content browser, like as if it's only expecting one. But I would assume that's going to be environment, landscape, materials. Yeah, it just told me to create a materials folder. So maybe that must be what it's talking about. It has to just be talking about this landscape materials folder then. Yep. Create a material. Actually, I think I'd need to specify a landscape material specifically. Oh, just select material. Okay. All right. Escape. Sample. Like I want to call it. Oh. I'm going to call it M underscore landscape. Okay. ready? With your new landscape material created, open up the material by double-clicking on it inside the content window, and when you do, you will see something like this come up on the screen. Oh my gosh. I do see something like that on the screen. That's crazy. It's time to start adding nodes inside of the material editor. The first node that you're going to create is a landscape layer coordinates, or landscape layer chords UV node. Okay. Landscape layer. Wait. Right? Okay, yeah, that's what the text says here, but that's not what the node in the picture says. Yeah, that's what the node in the picture says. Landscape chords, but with a space. Here, it's in the picture. This node helps to generate UV coordinates used to map the landscape material to the landscape actor. Okay, all right. The quickest way to find nodes specific to landscape is to search for them in the materials palette box using the landscape keyword. Okay, I see. That is how you search for something in a search box. Thank you. Epic. See, sometimes they're very vague with instructions and explanations, and sometimes they like really explain basic things. This is how you use a search box. If you want to find the landscape coordinates node, be sure to type landscape as the keyword. Yeah, thank you, Epic. That is how you use a search box. For the snow, we are just going to use a vector parameter. V left click. Oh. Use an off-white color. There we go. Oh, off-white, it said. So like 3/4 of the way. That's... See, off-white is also kind of a vague instruction, but if it doesn't have to be precise, then I guess that's fine. For the snow, we're just going to use the vector parameter that uses an off-white color. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know. Sure that no metallic information is used. A constant 1+ left click. Used and plugged into the metallic input. Okay. Good. All right. Is that not the same as what it was? It already had 0 in it. Am I crazy? I guess just to... Okay. Yeah, I don't really see a benefit of plugging in a 0.0 value. Maybe this is a version of Unreal where metallic came with a preset higher than 0. That's the only reason I can think of why it's telling me to do that. All right, then we're just going to leave that as 0, like it's preset. For the roughness, use a scalar parameter. S left click. S left click. Okay. Roughness. So it can be tweaked using a material instance. It doesn't need to change the metallic. No, it just says to make sure no metallic information is used. Maybe if I have that plugged in. Okay, the only other thing I can think of is that there might be something that automatically wants to feed into the metallic input there. So having a constant prevents that, maybe? this can be tweaked using a material instance. Finally, make sure that you connect the landscape coordinates to the UVs of each of the texture samples. Okay. Okay. Oh, wait, it didn't tell me to... Oh, was I supposed to use... No. Okay, yeah. I must have missed it. It definitely told me to like create texture sample nodes, right? Creating the material. Create the material. It looks like this. Make your landscape coordinates. Epic teaches you how to use a search bar for dummies. Material node you're gonna add. Okay, so yeah, the vector parameter for 0 for the off-white. Or no, sorry, that's right here. But vector parameter, sorry, for an off-white, and then using the constant at 0 for metallic. Scalar parameters plugged into roughness. 0.5 for roughness, okay. Connect it to each of the texture samples. Okay, I guess this is it, just telling me. Okay, to add the texture sample. That's what I was confused about. Because it said, make sure to plug it into your texture samples. And I scrolled down and saw this, thinking, I must have missed where it told me to bring in a texture sample. But it tells you after. Bring in a texture sample. Confusion solved. That makes sense. All right, so metallic. Never thought to like put the comments on the node like this. It's like way out in the distance for material. Metallic roughness. And then this is 0.5. And I think it's just T, right? Yeah. Oh, it's over here. Right? Yeah, right here. Okay. So now I need... Oh. I have to... Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just going to have to copy the names of them. Okay. That was, yep, okay. Last one. Alrighty, yep, cool. So, base color and then normals, okay. It's from landscape coordinates first. This is just going to plug into texture sample here. And then this texture sample here. The UVs, right? Yeah, UVs. Texture sample, cool. And then there's 3 more. So these go down in the normal section. Okay. base color. Got it. And then UV. Oh, normal. What it's called. Normals. Alrighty. Plug down into here. Yikes. That's fine. Just leave it. Snow. Oh, you have specific RGB values for snow. 7, 7. It's fine. It's close enough. Okay, and then this has to go here. Oh no, that doesn't plug in there. And I got it right here then. Okay, and then these two right here, these UVs need to be added together. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what that does or why you would. I don't understand how using math nodes on pictures works. That makes sense. Like these are image files here. Adding them together, I guess it's like an add, like it's more of like an image processing, like like in Photoshop, how you have like add, screen, mask, like just different. Maybe that's what it's talking about with add. Maybe that's not just straight math. No, that's math right there. Okay, I don't know how it works. Okay, then these are added here and here. Okay. So is that, how does that plug in though? It doesn't say, maybe that's later on. Okay. To add the texture sample, no, oh, I already did that. Okay. Yep. After you add the material nodes and connect the landscape chords to the texture UVs, yep. It is time to add and set up the landscape layer blend and the landscape. Wait, but why are we adding these? Is it going to tell me why we're doing that? Okay, so it seems to be assuming that you understand what this is doing to the textures, because it definitely doesn't explain it at all. If I don't understand why this is why this works like this, I feel like I'm not going to be able to reproduce it. So let's Google it. I don't even know how to Google something like this. Like, what do you type into Google? You know? why in this very specific example of using landscape materials in Unreal Engine's documentation does it say these two specific nodes have to be added together, but not this other UV node? You know, like I don't know how to Google something like that. Yeah, we're gonna save that. Is it literally just to like overlay, combine them together? Like, is it essentially just overlaying the two? Overlaying different types of detail and breaking up visual repetition, aka tiling. Okay. I see. Being blended at different scales, apparently, to help break up tiling. Okay. After you add the material nodes and connect the landscape coordinates to the texture UVs. Okay, yeah, that's done. It's time to set up and create the landscape layer blend node. The landscape layer blend node blends layers using weight blending, height blending, or alpha blending. Weight blending uses each layer's painted weight to determine which to display. Use weight blending where you want two different surfaces to blend seamlessly into each other, such as a rock into sand. Height blending uses the same weight information along with an additional height value taken from the texture sample's alpha channel. It's best used when you want one material to clearly sit on top of another, such as the grass and snow sitting on top of the soil layer. Alpha blending uses the painted weight information with an alpha layer to determine the final result. Okay. You first place down a landscape layer blend node. It will be blank like the image below. Okay, so let's add in a layer blend node. Okay, I'm going to wait till it tells me exactly which node to add because there's a billion layer blend nodes. But it says right, it just says layer blend. Oh, it's called Landscape Layer Blend. Got it. There it is. All right, Landscape Layer Blend. Oh yeah, definitely doesn't look like that in the picture. Just says Layer Blend in the other picture. It will be blank. Yeah. Layers, you need to select the node in the material graph. And then in the details panel, click on the plus icon in between the word elements and trash can. What? Oh. What a weird way to describe that. That works. So icon is highlighted yellow in the image labeled. Okay. Yeah, I see that. Following table shows what textures are associated with which layer name and what blend type they use. That's a lot of parameters. Oh, okay. Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. So I need to, okay, so I need, how many of these? 2. Okay, so I need 3 total indexes for this landscape layer blend. All right, 3 array elements. So this would be soil. That's LB weight blend. Grass. It's LB weight blend. LB weight blend. Wait, what? They're all weight. What? No. Oh no, those are the normals. I see. Okay. Soil, grass, snow. Okay. This is weight. This is height. This is also height. Oh, I don't like the order that these are in. You got layer, layer, height, layer, height. Is that what that's supposed to look like? Yep, that's what it looks like in the example too. Layer, layer, height, layer, height. All right. And then I got to create another one. Can I rename this? Can I give this node a nickname? Oh, I can put a comment on it though. That's what I can do. This would be base color. Base color, blend, layer blend. Yeah. Base color, layer blend. And Probably just, yeah. Maybe instead I should call it layer blend base color. Or I could just say base color, but we've already got, I feel like I'm smart enough to know that this node here isn't what's driving the base color. So we'll call it like this. Normal. Okay. But these need to be all weight. Nothing for alpha? Okay. Maybe that's farther down. Right now we're just doing base and normal. All right. And then no, I don't think that's right. I'm missing a pin on the normal. Oh, I see. This, it's also height. There we go. Weight, height. Weight, height, weight. Cool. I think we got that then. Hey, Shawnee B. Is that a pug? Oh, I see it now. Hype high. Nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping in. I am getting thoroughly humbled by landscape materials right now. So welcome to my stress. Thanks for being here. You're making the map from scratch? I guess technically, but no, I'm following this quick start guide. So like, yeah, I went and hit create on it, but no, it's just a guide that I'm following that teaches me how landscape textures even work, or landscape materials even work. And Unreal Andy. Nice to meet you and your dancing dinos. Thanks for stopping in. Currently being humbled by landscape materials. Just trying to understand how any of this even works. There is a game in progress here that I'm working on, but as I'm working on it, I am learning how Unreal Engine even works. Might as well take a moment just to do a little walk around. Actually, let me delete the material from here. That looks like booty. I'd rather look at the grid. Here's our feller. Our slime feller. Rolls around. Jumps. Just does stuff, you know? It's just happy to be here. But ultimately, the game is going to be on an island, and you're kind of going around doing different mini games to. I think the idea is that he's going to be collecting money. Like, there's going to be some overarching goal for why you're doing these mini games, but it's just going to be like an island mini game, fun little thing to play around with. But part of that is the island and landscape, and this was also just like a test landscape I made a while ago before I decided that it was all going to be on an island. This was actually going to be a little hub area, and I was going to like create little entry points to different levels you could go through. There might still be entry points to other areas, but the idea is that you're on a single island, just working your way around it, doing mini games on it. Nice slime, satisfying animation. Thank you. We actually worked pretty hard on getting the physics material right for this slime so that it jiggles realistically, because this is a physics-driven slime. Really, the only actual animation is in the blinking and also like the idling. There's like an idle animation where, oh, and sometimes the face is technically programmed to point towards velocity, but sometimes he likes to just turn in weird directions. That needs some tweaking. There is an idle animation, but sometimes he just really doesn't want to get into an idle pose because he is technically a ball and is rolling, which is the whole point of this little grab animation, so that you can stop your momentum and grab onto stuff. You can actually climb surfaces with this. You test it out in like a free little city pack. Like you can just climb straight up buildings this way, or whatever surface you want. There's also the little dash mechanic. Yeah. Now, I'm being thoroughly humbled by landscape materials. Yeah, seems to adhere to the landscape well. I have no clue how you did it. Well, the jiggling was just a physics material. There's a ball inside here. There is like an invisible sphere that drives the actual collision and like him rolling around. But then there's a separate skeletal mesh that's like larger than the ball that is what's shaking and deforming and jiggling. And then the grabbing is just a material parameter that changes that. That's what most of his work has been, is really just the character and the controlling him and getting him to jiggle right and getting his face to look right. Now is the game itself. That's the tough part. Well, right now in this actual very moment, it's landscapes. So I'm in the process of being thoroughly humbled by learning landscape materials. Oh, but actually adhering to the landscape, that's something that you did say a second ago. Actually, like sticking to a surface. Let me I'll show you the visualizer for it. There's like a detection area around the character that determines if he can grab onto something. Where am I going? I'm not going in the right section. Okay, so core, player, slime ball. There we go. Debug draw type. I can never remember which one. Is it persistent or is it? I think it's for one frame. Yeah, for one frame. I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So there is this little like detection area. So the areas underneath are telling him that there's a surface under him to grab. And same like over here, now it's right there. So that's and then it gets the average of the distance between those to determine like what the actual grip point is. And then his gravity is not 0, but it's like much more intensely reduced, so that he still like slides down the surface as he sticks to it. You can counteract it if you just hold forward while looking up. Oh, look at him jiggling. Yeah, I don't know how the slime body is aware of the surface. You're hard tracing in a bunch of directions. Yep. That is exactly what's happening. It was a line trace previously, but Bacon Guy, the resident mod here, who's also essentially just been my tutor and like at this point, like a co-developer on the project, created this other solution with a sphere trace instead of a line trace. Sphere trace just makes it easier, or actually helps the character not like snap between vertices so intensely where it's noticeable. Like that's mainly for, we found that issue on like cylindrical surfaces, like a telephone pole or a tree or something else that has a lower poly count around it. The character wants to like kind of snap between the surfaces instead of like smoothly adhering around it. Yeah, I gotta give flowers to Bacon Guy here. I would not be nearly as far on my education journey without him. He has been an incredible tutor through all of this, so he definitely gets those flowers. And if you come in here saying some crazy stuff, he'll hit you with that band hammer because he's real good at it. So behave. Okay. Yeah, I'm literally just going through right now this quick start guide on Unreal's site for landscape materials. Also, because I did grab an asset pack, which I'll open up the example. I think it's in the bundle. Okay, I'll show you the example right now of the feel that I want to go for with this island. But there's a lot of learning that has to be done from today me to the future me that successfully builds an island that kind of follows this design language. So these are the assets here. This is the pack. And very quickly, when I tried to make my own landscape, I realized it's not just a matter of just dragging in a pre-made material onto a landscape that I just sculpted with the landscape brush. There's more to it than that. So that's what I'm learning. So I understand how it works. But ultimately, this will be... I think I have a player start on here, don't I? Could have swore I dragged one in. Oh yeah, there he is. Well, let me turn off the trace. There we go. Yeah, there he is. The slime buddy. On a beach vacation. He's gonna be running around an island doing different mini games from simple to abstract. Maybe like fishing or maybe wrangling in some crabs or using his own body in a giant pachinko machine. I think the mini games themselves, I want to be tailored more towards the mechanics I created, and they are kind of like movement-based mechanics. So, you know, maybe there'll be a dude over here that's like, hey, I lost my thingy. It's up on that mountain. Can you go get it? I'm scared. Maybe he'll find whatever thingy's up here and a collectible, or maybe another person that's hiding, or whatever, you know. Not this map specifically, but the idea is that it's going to have this type of like design language, like this vibe to it. And we're back to... Gosh, I'm still getting used to like actual competent file structures. Okay, core, because all my stuff's in there. And now core is what's actually in the game. The ingredients are out here. So we're going to go to maps. There we go. And map 0. Yeah, I think that's the one that I had open. Yeah. All right, I'm going to take my break. Good luck. Have fun with Dev. Appreciate you stopping by, Shiny B. Feel free to stop in later if you see that I'm on. I stream Mondays and Tuesdays, so I'll be on tomorrow as well, about the same time. If you want to stop in, welcome you here. Take care. Okay. Oh, that's right. I didn't have a map open. I was just going through this material. I'm getting better at it, but sometimes it's harder for me to get my train back on track after I've voluntarily derailed it. Okay. Landscape prep. Painting landscape materials. Before you can begin painting the landscape, there's some setup that you need to do first. Start by applying your landscape material to the landscape. Wait, I haven't plugged everything in yet, have I? No, I haven't. Okay, no, I still need to plug in these textures to the layer blends. Move this out of the way. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to get down in your pins like that. My apologies. Okay. should call it normals, not just normal. Okay, normals. All right, so what am I looking at here? After you set up the layer blend nodes, after you... I'm so good at reading. So good at it. After you set up the layer blend nodes, connect the texture maps to them. Height blended materials have both a layer connection and a height connection to accommodate the need for additional height information. When completed, you should have something that looks like the following. All right, that is a lot going on here, but from what I understand, all I got to do is we're taking the RGB and the alpha. Wait, why is the... Why is the alpha this texture plugging into height snow? That's what it says to do. An RGB plugs in right here. And then from this texture sample, what are the differences here? Are these are just different textures to like break up the tiling, I think, right? And wouldn't I be adding them in? This is soil, and then this is grass. Okay, so this is, okay. Okay, I guess I understand what we're doing here. Okay, so RGB goes into layer grass, and then the alpha goes into height grass. That's so weird that we're using this, because I guess we don't have a snow texture. It just told me to create one from a parameter. But we're using the soil alpha as the height for the snow. Which I guess makes sense if like you're wanting your snow to be at the soil level and still have like grass poking through it. I guess I can see that. But how do you see the snow? These are all questions that if I understood how materials work or landscape materials work better, I would just know. But the fact I have these questions is a good indicator that more learning and digging through documentation is merited here. All right. And then we take the parameter here. That's going to plug into layer snow. Okay. Okay. That's looking right to me. All right, and then down here, this RGB pin plugs into layer soil. And that's it. This addition of these two textures here gets plugged into layer grass. And then just the RGB from this texture plugs into layer snow. Oh, wait, I missed another one. Okay, the alpha of this grass texture then plugs in to height grass. Okay, I'm gonna trust the process here. All right, so we've got some fresh pasta that we made. Now this gets plugged into base color. Let's drag these down. This plugs into base color. Let's bring this over here. And this plugs into normal here. Okay. He's already okay, so that's it. This just plugs into normal. This plugs into base. Yeah, because this is the base color. These are the normals. These are the layer blends for the normals. These are the layer blends for the base color. Okay, okay. I'm kind of getting it. I think I'm getting it. That's what's after that. Is that it? Then I have to paint the landscape materials. Okay, so it seems like we're done making the landscape material. All right, so we always start with a landscape coordinate, it seems. Just want to confirm that. Doing a quick search. Okay, you don't strictly start with the landscape layer coordinates node, but it is used in about 99% of landscape materials, and it's the de facto standard with only a few exceptions. Okay, cool. So for the most part, yes, I will be starting with landscape coordinates in pretty much every use case, except for, yeah, some other exceptions here. World-aligned textures, aka triplanar mapping, or purely math / noise-driven materials. Okay, yeah. All right. My dog is going crazy right now. And I know I made the mistake of leaving the window cracked. I love that dude, but the man cannot handle having a window cracked open. Like, or I should say with curtains cracked open. Just anyone that dares commit the offense of like walking down a public street will not fly with this dog. I'm hoping he just calms down in a second. I don't have to run out there and close the curtain. Luckily, we're far enough from the street, he's not really disturbing anyone by doing it, but because the window's closed, it's just the curtain that's open, but the only one being disturbed are the residents of this house. Okay. But yeah, we're done with this. This is good. Does that look like a landscape? Not at all, but I'm trusting the process here. Pretty sure the other example landscape materials, the thumbnail or icon, was just like a black circle anyway, so it must have to look like this. Okay, well, we've got this landscape right here. Perfect. This is not by any means intended to be the map with the final landscape on it either. The landscape material selected in the content browser, select the landscape in the world, and then in the details panel, expand the landscape section and look for the landscape material input. Landscape material, okay. That was landscape example, okay. I don't know what I expected, but it looks identical to the the preview. It's funny. All right. With the landscape material selection, I already read that. Okay. All right, I did that. Apply the material to the landscape using the use selected asset from the content browser arrow icon. Okay. Is that what that is? Use selected asset from the content browser. What? Oh, I see what it was saying to do. Okay. No, instead of searching for it. I can also just drag it over there, I'm pretty sure. Where did I put this? Okay, no, this has to stay Project Slime. Let's close all these out. Minimize these. Project Slime. Okay, this over here is other stuff. Assets, textures, nope. I think it's still in Project Slime, right? Environment, landscape, materials, landscape example. Yeah. And yeah, you can just drag and drop it too. Okay. I did not mean to copy that. Control Z today I learned does not work on deleting an asset you just created. Got it. I guess it's probably the safest way to handle that. How much would it suck if you accidentally controlled Z like file or something you worked hard on? Okay, when completed, you should have something that looks like this. Oh my gosh, yes, it does look like that. Now that you've applied the landscape material, you are almost ready to start painting. Before you can do so, you must first create and assign 3 landscape layer info objects. If you try to paint before you assign the landscape layer info objects, you'll get a warning message that states this layer has no layer info assigned yet. You must create or assign a layer info. Did I read that right? Am I having a stroke? No, that's right. You must create or assign a layer info before you can paint this layer. Grammar is rolling in its grave. You need to create 3 landscape layer info objects, one for each texture that you want to paint. Here's how you do it. Okay. First, make sure you are in landscape paint mode. Landscape, okay. Paint, okay. In the landscape panel under the target layer section, you should see 3 inputs labeled soil, grass, and snow. Is that so? Wait, where is that? It's under paint, target layers, none. Did I not? Did it tell me a second ago how to create the layer info? Did I just miss that? No, it didn't tell me how to do that. I didn't miss it. There are currently no target layers assigned to this landscape. Use the buttons above to add new ones. Okay, so I just add them from there. Greetings. Sorry. Greetings. No need to be sorry. Thanks for stopping in. I am in the process of being thoroughly humbled by landscape materials. How the fucking shit are you, friends? What are we doing? We are learning how landscape materials work because I don't know how any of this works. I've started the video is named differently now, but this is essentially like the 41st or 42nd stream of teaching myself with assistance, Unreal Engine. It started out with me just like teaching myself from scratch. We've had some very educated visitors along the way, some of which have stuck around, like Bacon Guy, our mod here, who's helped tutor me through a lot of it. Most of that time, I'll say, was spent on character controller and creation and blueprints. Because here, let me unassign this material real quick. There's a clear button. Crazy. Clear. There we go. Most of the time has been spent on this little guy. This little slime dude. He's happy. He rolls. He jumps, he jiggles. Really, the jiggling, I think, is what I'm most proud of. This jiggling is all physics based. It is straight jiggle physics with this line. And I love him. He's my special little guy. He can grab onto stuff and dash. He's very determined when he's grabbing onto things. You can manually like roll him around with Wazda, but he goes much faster if you use the little dash mechanic that we have built in. But yeah, he's my special little guy. Very nice. I'll be a mod if you like. I have many decades experience with hot dogs. We'll see. You definitely got to earn that mod spot, but not to say that anyone else can. Bacon Guy is just definitely above everyone else. Far exceeded the requirements for that, so he's the main mod here. Eating them, cooking them. I'm also a dev though, so I might be able to help with that. Dude, that's awesome. I love shit like that. Yeah, this is cool as fuck. Thank you. I appreciate you taking a look at what we've done so far. And I will say, again, I know at this point Bacon Guy thinks I just glaze him all the time, but I would not be anywhere close to the progress point that I'm at without Bacon Guy's very competent tutoring. He's definitely not. We've had a handful of people that come in and say, nope, you did that wrong. You got to do this, this, and that. No, do this, and then do that, and then do that. And I don't really know what I'm doing at that point. I'm just kind of following instructions. Bacon Guy takes the time to be patient, outline why something's happening the way it is, and really give me time to digest it and figure it out myself before he like jumps in to start guiding me. So he's like, dude needs to actually tutor people. Like, I think he's a good educator. I'm a software dev who just jumped into game dev. Oh, well, we're both kind of beginners in different aspects, I guess, just for game dev specifically. I am not a software dev. I have some basic programming principle understandings. But no, I'm definitely not a software developer. Absolutely not part of my main profession. What kind of projects you work on that you've just jumped into game dev? Is there like a specific project that you jumped into doing this for, or are you just teaching yourself? You can make 99% of games all using Blueprint anyway. Don't even matter. That's what we've done so far. Everything's Blueprint here. Which Blueprint is still programming. It's just like plugging in pre-made blocks of code to each other. It's just I'd say it's programming with a wildly different approach to syntax. There we go. Okay. Oh. But yeah, if you ever want to stop back in and hang out, feel free. I'm here Mondays and Tuesdays. Usually start about any time between like 6:30 and 7 Central Time, Chicago time. That's when I start up, because the scheduled start time is usually 7, but I like to get in here a little bit early and usually start the stream a little bit early, so that I'm ahead of the curve there. But yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays, feel free to stop in. We do have a Discord if you're ever interested in joining that. No pressure. I still need to put a link on the actual Twitch page. I'll just put that in the chat here. So no pressure. If you want to grab that link, feel free. If not, don't worry about it. I'll just make it available just in case. Copy that. And just make sure that was the right server I copied that from. Yes, okay. And there is like a share your work channel in there too. So if you ever want to share stuff that you're working on, feel free. I'll happily take a look. No engine. Oh wait, hang on. I missed a couple chats. I want to make games. I'll move more into Unity at some point, but I'm making like a Dwarf Fortress inspired crime life sim. No engine, C++. What I have kind of resembles an old engine, but it's not really. Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. It sounds like a lot of work. Back, followed you. Oh, well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Where was I at? Where's my tab? I don't need that tab or that tab. Okay. I was at painting. That's where I was at. All right. So back, select material, landscape. Oh, I need to be in selection mode. Selection mode, landscape material, drag that in. Okay. And then now, it is, and I hate life, but I'm making what I want to make. Who cares? I'm sorry to hear that, man. I understand what you mean, though. Just gonna do what makes you happy, you know? Absolutely. I hope life gets better for you. Sad to hear that you hate it. Not literally, I just meant it's very complex. I feel it. I know what you mean. I'll take that as sometimes it's easy to hate life, so might as well do what you enjoy. It's probably a good way to translate it. Okay, one for each texture. Oh, that's right. I need to actually create the layers. Landscape here. It's weird. They're just already here in the example. Yeah, select landscape, select paint. And then in the landscape panel under target layers section, you should see 3 inputs labeled soil, grass, and snow. Did I plug this in right? I think I did, because the preview looks exactly like it does in the example. Yeah, this is all plugged in. Base color, metallic, roughness, normal, landscape coordinates, normals, add, layer blend, base color. Yeah, this is all fine. But I guess I just have to manually add it instead. Create layers from assigned materials, maybe? There we go. That's what it was. Maybe that create layers from assigned materials used to be automatic instead. Okay, so these are at none. Got it. That's right. There is a plus sign. Clicking that will bring up another menu that will ask what type of layer you would like to add. For this example, pick the weight blended layer, parentheses normal option. Okay. So for soil, I don't think that was right. We'll ask what type of layer you would like to add. This is a file browser. What? Oh no, that's the same menu. Okay. Did I? Non-weight blended, weight blended normal. Yeah, it didn't even give me this pop-up here. It just went straight into this menu right here. I guess. Select the resources folder under the landscape folder. Okay. Where did I put that? That was under. So that was under assets right here. Textures. It was not under there. Nope, it was under environment. Okay. Landscape. Okay. Resources. All right. Right, that's what we're doing. Under the land, yeah, resources. Okay. All righty. After you complete the first one, repeat the same process for the other two. You should have something that looks like the following. Okay. Your info. Got it. So just grass, snow, and soil. That's all I got to do. No, not delete. Here we go. Environment, landscape, resources. Environment, landscape, resources. There we go. All right. Hooray. Let's see here. Now that you created and applied the landscape layer info object, you can begin to paint your landscape. Before you begin to paint your landscape, here's a recap of some of the most used, commonly used. Another example of grammar rolling in its grave. Before you begin to paint the landscape, here is a recap of some of the most used, commonly used keyboard and mouse inputs that you will use when painting the landscape. This is throwing me for a loop. Some of the most used, commonly used keyboard and mouse inputs. It's like a mattress commercial. The main tool that you will use for applying textures to your landscape is going to be the paint tool. Find out more about all the tools that you can use to paint on the landscape. Check out the paint mode documentation. Paint mode documentation. Open that in a new tab. Oh, I don't even know what I just clicked. But I'm back. Okay. To apply a material to the landscape, press and hold the left mouse button. Okay. Select a new texture to paint. You must make sure you're in landscape painting mode under the target layer section. Select which texture you want to paint with by clicking on it. Whichever texture is highlighted will be painted on the landscape. In the image below, you can see the soil layer is highlighted, meaning that the texture will be painted to the landscape. Okay, yeah, we'll just not going to worry about possible issues right now. We're just going to paint. So we got soil. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like in this picture too. There's just that grid right here of soil. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna just cover this dude in soil for right now. That's the base layer. Then grass. Maybe let's shrink this brush size down a little bit. Maybe I feel like the fall off for grass should be a little more. Oh wait, no, other way around. It should be less intense. There we go. Maybe not. Well, I don't know. But I will say that should be a bit smaller here. Interesting. Does the grass look more intense right here? Because here's at the angle. Maybe it's just the angle I'm looking at it. No, I swear it's like a reflective factor, maybe? It is kind of shiny. Strength? I don't think the strength's going to matter. Because regardless of the strength, going back over it a bunch of times should increase the density. I would assume that's how like brushes work in other art programs. All right, I will just take your word for it that this is soil and grass. Snow. Oh. There is some snow. My first landscape. Doesn't it look so good? I know, sorry, any Unreal devs in the chat. I'm not looking for a position. I'm happy with my job currently. Sorry. I know it's disappointing. Okay. That's close enough. I would say that mine's definitely on a comparable fidelity of this one here. Open your landscape. Yeah, too big or too small. I would say that's, I mean, it's about the same scale as what I'm looking at in this picture. I was going to say, I feel like the material's too small, but like, look at this soil here. Like, it's about a comparable scale, wouldn't you say? But let's look at the mapping scale. Let's see how that affects it. Materials. So 1 is maximum, right? Is this a 0 to 1 situation? No, it's not. Sometimes there's not really an easy way to tell. Some sliders or some input fields will let you go higher than 1, even if that input is only like a 0 to 1 input. Say 10. Why? Hey! That doesn't look great, but that already looks miles better than it did before. Like way better than it did before. Oh, it still looks like booty, but it's yeah. Like if you plopped me right here, I would still say this looks primitive and beginner-like, or maybe even old or dated, but this doesn't look like someone's first starter project ever. Like I'd be like, yeah, I just got plopped into an old game. Maybe that snow is a good giveaway. That's not how snow works. This ain't bad. Yeah, night and day difference for sure. While the quick start tutorial above will get you up and running with a landscape, it barely scratches the surface of what the landscape tool can do. This section aims to show you some tips and tricks for using the landscape tools, as well as some external tools that you can use to generate your landscape. Oh. When using the paint tools, you might find it easier to paint over what you would like to erase and then... Wait, what? When using the paint tools, you might find it easier to paint over what you would like to erase than... I feel like there should be a rather in between erase and than. You'd like to erase rather than try to erase it using shift and left mouse button. When using the alpha brush, remember that you can change what the pattern the brush uses. I cannot read today, apparently. When using the alpha brush, remember that you can change what the pattern that the brush uses by selecting a different RGB channel. By selecting a different RGB channels. Like I'm already having a hard time reading today, Unreal. Please stop messing with me. So at this point I'm being messed with. This is very handy because you can pick up the 3 different alpha patterns in a single texture. Okay. Landscape compiles shaders separately for each component based on which layers are painted onto them. For example, if you have a component with a dirt layer on it, but no trace of the grass layer and painted on it, the textures for the grass layer are left out of the material for that component, making it cheaper to render. Huh. Okay. Another issue to watch out for when painting layers is to avoid having too many textures on one component. Material editor stats show the limit of how many texture samples you are allowed to use, but for landscape materials, the masks for each layer count as a texture sample too. They do not show in the stats. If a component starts showing the default texture, gray squares, when you paint a new layer onto it, it is likely that it has gone over the texture sample limit and either needs to have a layer erased or the material needs to be optimized to use less textures. You can change the LOD distance factor for individual landscape components so they will simplify at closer or further distance thresholds. Things like mountains, peaks, or anything with a distant silhouette will LOD most noticeably as you move further away, so you can reduce the LOD bias for those. Preserve their shape. You can also raise the LOD bias for low detail areas like flat plains that will look noticeably different, that will not look noticeably different with less tessellation. External creation tools. Procedural terrain generation in Houdini uses a collection of height field nodes that let you use layer shapes and add noise to define the look of your digital landscapes. Use advanced erosion tools for more control. Mudbox, Gradient, World Machine, ZBrush. Okay. To build texture and export both height maps and textures for your landscape, you can read more about how TerraGen might be able to help you with it. These are definitely not free programs, right? I know Houdini and ZBrush are not. Simulate, don't sculpt. Huh. Download World Machine for free. Professional Edition is packed with tools designed for content creators seeking high resolution output Outputs, accelerated processing, and streamlined workflows. Oh, am I only gonna get like low res stuff? I use the free version. $2,000. Sheesh. Huh. Okay. Landscape paint mode. Tool adjusts layer heights. Oh, this was okay. This is what they were talking about. Where was it? I think it was paint mode. Oh, right here. Landscape paint mode. Curious about these other tools though. So we've got World Machine, Terragen. Oh, I didn't mean to load it on the same page. Okay. $199 for perpetual or $10 a month. I can't expand these. It's not a picture. Planetary scale. That's crazy. This might be a little too advanced for my use case. But maybe not. I mean, maybe there's ways to use it for more stylized appearance rather than... It seems like this is really targeted towards realistic landscapes. Here's a part of the assigned landscape material. Okay, yeah, so we kind of understand how to put that together now. And then so if I were to, let's say, essentially make an identical material, but with the actual textures plugged in that are from that pack, I could then make my own landscape material. But are there not already landscape materials? How did he make his landscape materials? That's what I want to know now. Okay, material, tropical island, landscape. And landscape, is it? Maybe this is it. Oh, wow. This is much more advanced than what I have set up. What is this? Texture coordinate, texture sample, micro variation tiling. Landscape chords. Okay. What is going on here? Runtime virtual texture output. Okay, so he's got, yeah, RVT. Okay. So that was the next thing I need to understand is how RVT works, because these assets that I downloaded make use of runtime virtual texturing. So I am kind of curious now. Oh, how would I undo this? I want to just get rid of everything I painted. There's got to be a quick way to do that, right? Is it just removing the material, maybe? Well, no, because it already created the resources, didn't it? So those resources, I'm assuming, is that just for the material, or is that for this material when specifically applied to this landscape? So it seems like it's just for, it's not just for this material, but it's for any material that's using these textures, it seems, or those layers. Maybe that's more of like if I was instancing the material. I think it is largely material specific though. I'm curious now what happens if I clear this out. Oh yeah. All right, that worked. And now I want to know what happens if I drag this in right here. Okay. Oh. Oh, that's, yeah, it's still trying to, I see. I see. I see. Yeah, so you need sand, rocks, pebbles. Sand, dunes, rocks. Does that work? Because I'm pretty sure soil, grass, snow, soil, grass. These were all like soil, grass, and snow. Sand, dune, rocks, sand, rocks. What? Dirt, height, rock, normals, rock. Yeah, I have no idea. Sand, dunes, rocks, and sand, rocks, and pebbles. So I feel like sand and rocks. So would I make sand delete that. Delete. Create from assigned material. Okay, okay, there we go. Dirt. No. Oh, and then I have to go and I have to make the, okay. Environment, landscape, resources. Landscape, resources. Okay, pebbles, environment, landscape, resources. All right, dirt, environment, landscape, resources, sweet, sand, environment, landscape, and resources, and then red rock, which does not look like a red rock. I feel like this is not going to work. There's no way it's going to be as easy as just taking the simple knowledge that I learned and applying it in this case, right? There's definitely going to be a contingency or something that wasn't covered or planned for. But let's start with dirt, I guess. All right, it's just dirt. Sand? No, sand is broken. Wait, no, sand's up here. Why is there a sand 02? Can I just like take one and apply the whole thing to it, like as a base? Like, oh no, I guess dirt. Yeah, I really don't know. Wasn't there a sand details? There's a sand details material. How does that work? Is that not what this is? Or is this not sand details? What's going on down here? Dunes? The dunes? It's dunes. No, it's looking a little too big. What is this? Dirt? Sand? Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, sand 02 are these little, like, these details here. These little ones. Okay, I see what's happening now. It's like if it's, yeah, I see. I feel like we can bring up the strength and bring up the size by quite a bit. Let's just go ahead. I'm going to cover everything. The sand details. We're going to go sand. Okay. And maybe dirt in some spots. Let's shrink this. Increase the fall off a bit. You lower the intensity down for the strength. I wish I knew what was happening right here. What the difference between, like, why this hard cutoff is happening here. Okay. Now I just want to, I wish there was a button to just clear all of this. I want all of it cleared. That's what I want. What's up, dude? Hey, thanks for stopping in, Mike the Mad. Just working on a project here. Being humbled by landscape materials. I have no clue how it works. I have a better clue now, but I don't understand where the seam is even coming from. Why it's applying differently. I probably have to fix this. I'm just learning. Hope you're doing well. How you doing, man? Landscapes are big, not hard to feel dwarfed by them. It's a good one. You must have children. That was a great dad joke. Maybe. Yeah. Makes sense. I might just need to clear all this because I don't really see a way to just like remove it all unless I do this, because I think I can just hit clear on the landscape, right? Clear, maybe? How about you? I have 3 boys, all over 14. I do not have children yet. At some point, me and my wife are planning to have kids here, probably within the next couple of years, but no, none for me yet. Although we do have more than enough children in our lives currently. My wife attracts children like a magnet, in that she takes on honorary nieces and nephews like a magnet. That's a better way to put that. So we have no shortage of friends' kids or cousins' kids or whatever else, or just rant. She's also a teacher. She teaches. I guess she still directly teaches, but she manages over 2 different classrooms to help set curriculums. She works at a special needs facility. So she does a lot of like really intense care situations for kids that require intense care. That's what she likes to do. She's very good at it. Me, I just sit in an office and I make phone calls. How's next quarter's numbers looking? We gonna hit our target? Are we ahead of target? Boring stuff. I don't do any development for my actual day job. I just work in an office doing boring office stuff. How about yourself? What do you do for a living, if you don't mind sharing? My wife works with behaviorally challenged youth. Oh, okay. So we kind of have that in common. So when I say special needs facility, it is a lot of like kids that have genuine like disabilities or special needs. But honestly, the majority, like probably over 80% of the kids that are there are just developmentally delayed, usually due to neglect or lack of care. Like there's not like an official diagnosis that they have other than essentially just being neglected up until that point, and their development levels are not nearly where they're supposed to be, which does lead to a lot of behavior issues as well. I'm a producer, engineer, artist. Oh, nice. Okay, that's pretty cool. I actually went to a 1-year vocational course on music production, but it was like the full thing in person. Was learning from everything from like digital production to like physical plugins and Foley. I think Foley was probably my favorite part of that class. That was a lot of fun. Foley's real fun. Is that the MV from Shure or 7dB? It is not the 7dB. I almost got the 7dB. It is the I don't even remember what it's called at this point. Is it MV? Or was it like SM? What the frick? MV7 Plus. That's what it is. Okay. I knew it had like a different name than the predecessor before this, because the one before this I think was just the MV7. This is the MV7 Plus. I almost got a 7B, but I really liked the idea of, even though up until this point for most of like my hobby stuff, I usually liked having like an XLR plugged into my computer for a microphone, but you know, USB mics have come a long way. Just get a USB mic and you have a bunch of digital options for tuning it as well. So I just use a little USB mic. This is a 90-degree little USB-C cable. Otherwise there'd be a cable like jutting out the back of this. I probably got to organize this cable a little bit better, but honestly, it works just fine for me. But I used to have a regular SM7B for the longest time. I never actually got a 7DB, but yeah, the SM7B, which the 7B, or I should say the 7DB, is literally just the 7B, but with the preamp already installed into it, right? Because the 7B, you usually need a preamp with it. The 7B is amazing. Yeah, that is the GOAT, the 7B. It has a cloud lifter in it. Yeah, that makes sense, because usually, yeah, you buy the cloud lifter separately, or you just crank your gain way up on whatever audio interface that you're using. Don't ask me how I know. I don't have a cloud lifter, but I do have a PreSonus Studio channel. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I have been considering maybe switching this thing over to XLR, because it does have XLR on the back of it. It's just not. Oh, sorry, I was muted there. One of the USB features is that this tap works very sensitively, but I was going to say that I was considering switching it to XLR, because there's an XLR input right here. And I've just used it for a while. But I thought it'd be nice to, you know, see what my options are again for XLR inputs. I might not need it, but yeah, the XLR might be nice if you get a good interface. So yeah, I've got a couple like janky interfaces. I mean, I guess the Rode one I have is not janky. It's just small. It's like a single channel interface. I think it's right up here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right here. This thing. It's good enough interface for what I need it for. I just need a cable. Just really even haven't tried. So I was fine with the USB-C. But I know that there's other ones that have like additional features and like buttons that can, so that it doesn't just have to be an interface. It can double as like a macro pad or something else. Yeah, and I do have a Rode condenser mic in my closet too. I just don't really use it anymore. I've had it for a few years at this point. And I realized for streaming or just using as a computer microphone, condensers are not the way to go. You'll hear absolutely everything. Oh, also another reason that I really enjoy using USB is that I don't have to worry about like running it through separate noise cancellation after the fact. Like there's built-in noise cancellation with the software that Shure has that comes with this. So that's nice. It's just background noise cancellation, all AI powered, of course, but this is so plug and play. It's really nice to have as like a desktop microphone. So working on, oh yeah, this here. But all that's to say, I appreciate you being here, fellow music nerd, or production nerd, I should say. Okay, so I wanted to try doing that again to see if I would get all the same issues that just came up before. Okay, so I think I want to delete these. Delete. 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 Okay. USP seems like it's fine for stream quality. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. You were in production school because you wanted to make music? I was in production school because as I closed into the end of high school, my main hobby was just like garage back shed production for my buddies in my band that I was a part of, and a couple other friends' bands that they were a part of. So I was just in high school, my spare time, my cheap little MacBook, plugging in was it a PreSonus? I think it was also a PreSonus preamp, just plugging in a dude's guitar, running a bunch of fake plugins, like digital plugins to get like a guitar sound or like a filter for singing or drums or whatever. Now I just record little GarageBand music. And closing in on the end of high school, I was thinking like, what do I want to do with my life? I have no idea. I don't know what I want to go to school for. Can I just go to school for this? I can. Let's do that. Then I got out of this program, realized the world is scary and that I can't just get out of a 1-year program and go open up my own studio. So it just kind of, I don't know, fell by the wayside as I got a real job and thought, yeah, maybe one day I'll save up to start my own studio. It just never happened. It's more of just a hobby that I have now. I don't regret it at all, but yeah, that's how it went. Do you play? I used to play the drums a lot more than I do now. If I had to pick an instrument that was like my main instrument, it was definitely the drums. But no, I was a vocalist. We were in a metal band, so I was the designated metal vocal guy, the screamer. That was me. But no, I played a lot of drums when I was in high school as well. No, it's in the actual band itself. I wasn't the drummer. I taught myself how to play drums because one, me and the drummer were like very close at the time. Like we were like best friends, like sleeping over at each other's houses, like 14, 15 years old. So we both worked together to like get a drum set together for him. And he didn't have a place to keep it at his place. So we just stored it at my place. Band practice was at my place. I'd come over. We'd do our practice and we'd leave. So the drum set was at my house at all times. So when there wasn't practice on some days, I just get home and play drums. And we lived out in the country, so it didn't really matter noise-wise. I drum a bit. Nice. Yeah, what kind of instruments do you play? Or are you more of a singer, a vocalist? Drum a bit. I pretty much one-man band it. Guitar, drums, bass, keys, sing. Yeah, that's what we like to do, huh? That's pretty much any time I was like writing my own music, just one-man banding. I should say one-man MIDI banding. I was a beast on that MIDI, the MIDI arranger, like the piano roll. Oh man, you should have seen high school me just like speed clicking through that. Oh, yeah, that was fun. Man, that was a good point in my life. Good memories. Oh, this is empty. I don't know why I'm grabbing that soda again. Like there's still something to drink in it. Island. Jungle. Shared Island, Devils Island. There's a lot of crossover between these packs that I got. Island, And island. Had those days burning the midnight oil, just obsessing over 2 notes in the playlist. Or another one is thinking that a specific instrument, or you can't tell if it's the instrument that sounds off or if it's the actual notes that sound off, because some instruments have like a natural dissonance to the MIDI instrument. So you just spend your time going one by one through a bunch of different instruments that you think might sound okay. And you'll just going back and forth between all these different instruments. Think, no, maybe that one sounds better. No, I like the old way. And then you lost the old instrument. That's why I always make a duplicate copy of whatever track that I'm doing that to. When I do instrument surgery on a MIDI track, you got to make sure you have your backup. Yeah, sound design is a mother. Yeah, I feel that. That's funny. That is something I'm kind of excited to do for this project here, because this is an actual like game project that I plan on shipping at some point. Just most of the time I've been spending is like on the actual player controller. But I am looking forward to working on music for this project. I feel like other people would probably just download free music or like buy music from somewhere else, but I'm actually looking forward to making music for this project. I think that'd be fun. Okay, so all of these layer info files are allocated. Total strength. Let's turn that up. Turn up the brush size. I want the whole island covered in this sand. Okay. All right, that's the sand. It's just the base color, right? The albedo. All right, and now I think it was sand 02, right? That had the little lines in it. Oh no. What is that? Oh no. I don't like that. We're gonna hit Control Z. I thought this would just give it texturing. Is it dunes maybe? No, it's sand, because there's definitely... What did I do wrong here? Tenscape Island. Is it the intensity maybe, or the strength? No, it just did the same thing. I swear we're supposed to just give it like the texture. Like how, here, let's go to dunes. Yeah, it should have just done that, but on a much smaller scale. I don't really know what the problem with that texture is though, but this looks fine enough for right now. I wonder if I just combine this with dirt, how this will look. Turn that brush size down. Oh no, nope, that's not how that's supposed to be used. All right, got it. Total strength. Yeah, definitely not how that's supposed to be used. Okay. Rocks. Those are rocks, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. What about pebbles? Interesting. Okay, so I feel like that would usually be at a smaller scale, right? You're just going to kind of, you know, brush in pebbles there, pebbles here, you know, just sprinkling them, you know. I feel like these aren't supposed to be on the sand. I think these are dirt pebbles. These aren't sand pebbles. It's red rock. Is that like the side of a rock face, maybe? I think it is. There's something wrong with this sand O2 here. We will try this one instead. No. What if I don't want to delete the layer. I want to clear that and then just make one. Environment, landscape, resources. Okay. Yeah, now that's working. When I make one, it works fine. But when I use the pre-made layer info file, it does not work fine. Weird. Let's make that bigger, I guess. Oh, I see. So it is going to like kind of overwrite that. Is this more for... What would I use this on? I really don't know. Also, I'm realizing it's all going in like one direction here. But I feel like, you know, for example, like this rock here, if this was like a rock face or whatever, like you would want it all the way, always being horizontal, unless that's not, that not rock? Do I not know what red rock is? I feel like maybe I just don't know what red rock is. What is red rock? Like, what is this specifically referencing? Is it just like a sedimentary rock? Oh yeah, no, okay. Yeah, so they should, the layers should be horizontal then. This is what red rock usually looks like. Because yeah, it's sedimentary layers that are compacted down. So this red rock should always be like, that doesn't make any sense. So it should be horizontal. That's another thing I'm not sure how to do. What about dirt? Maybe I should reduce the brush size, get some dirt right here. We think dirt would cover this whole hill. Also, by the way, this is not like in any way a final map that I'm working on. I'm not painting this with the intention of this being part of the game. This is just like practice here. Yeah, I definitely need to use references, I think. Not a grass material. Oh, grass right here. Yeah, grass. Oh, I don't think there's grass materials though. Like landscape materials, I should say. I'm pretty sure landscape wise, we've got dirt and sand and red rock. Interesting. Okay, so these feel like things that would be along like, you know, the edge of like the border between sand and rock, you know. Got these rock materials here. This rock texture. Oh gosh. Yeah, I got a long way to go. This looks like booty cheeks. But we start somewhere, you know. Like, how would it look like dirt? No, because then you got the dune. I think the dunes over dirt is what really looks weird. But hey, this looks miles better than what it looked like when I opened the project after I'd literally just hang on, can I? No, I don't think I can do it without messing it up. Yeah, well, previously I literally just dragged in this sand details material on top of that, and it just tiled like it was just a grid of sand tiles just everywhere. Like it was the worst tiling I had ever seen on a texture, and it was everywhere. I mean, this doesn't look bad. Like, yeah, it's not in any way professional quality, but compared to the like grid texture or like the tiling of the old, like this is passable, I'll say. Like, I would believe that a game might at some point ship and not completely flop on its ass that could have used landscape fidelity to this level. But I do want to improve it a lot. This is still below, I think, my own bar for quality, but it's nice to know that this is like a point where this is still passable in most senses. On a beach. Yeah, what are these small little... I don't really know what that's going to be used for. Maybe you're not supposed to use the dune texturing everywhere. Maybe you're supposed to sparsely use the dune texturing, like kind of mixed on the side with that smaller sand texturing. And this don't look bad. This don't look bad at all. Some decent progress has been made here on understanding how landscape materials work. I feel pretty accomplished, actually. Let's see. I feel like there was one other thing that I wanted to do, though. Yeah, what is the material function? Okay, so material functions and then runtime virtual textures are two things that I need to understand as well. So I'm thinking tomorrow I should start with runtime virtual texturing. Maybe materials? I don't know. A lot of what makes a landscape look good is what's on top of it too. True. Yeah, very true. Like, here, let's throw in, where are we? Tropical Island. Oh, I see. I'm in the material folder. Go to models, Tropical Island, plants. Tree is in a different category than plants. Is it? Oh no, are we having that problem again? Why is it so dark now? I can't really Hell. It's not completely black, so like it's must be fine. Also, I feel like with these assets, the bottom 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet of this tree was probably intended to be in the ground. But the way Unreal places them, I think it just uses the bottom of the actual model. Or maybe it's collision. Whatever it's using to determine what the bottom of the asset is, it's a little too low. I feel like the solution to that would just be placing trees around and then take all your trees and wait, let's go to selection. Take all your trees and then just give it a little, just a little bloop. Maybe. Oh yeah, there we go. That looks better. I don't know why it's so dark. We definitely are not having the issue where it's in complete darkness. I wonder if it's the lighting on this specific map. It has to be. So the ambient occlusion, the ambient light needs to be turned up. So I think that was the skylight, right? Occlusion. That's distance field ambient occlusion. I don't think that's right. What happens if I turn that up? No, I don't think it's that. Was it in directional light? I feel like it was skylight. I mean, it does look fine. Just a little too dark. Just a little too dark. Like, I guess it does kind of look like a realistic level of contrast, but yeah, I want a little more ambient light here. We definitely fixed all these materials. Intensity scale in skylight. Oh, okay. Skylight. Intensity scale. Oh, wow. There's a very thin threshold there. I see. Okay. 0.1. 0.81. I see. Okay. Good looking out. Thank you. If we go to like 5. Oh. Kind of an interesting look. Like, it's still shadowed, but pretty lightly so. Yeah, I don't think I'm about that though. 3.2. I think I like 2. I think ultimately we still need we'll need to do something about the camera for the character, like not going through the camera when you look up. I think my solution of having the camera move backwards just slightly as you like. The more the camera is angled up from the X, like the flat X axis, or X and Y, I should say, the more it's moving up from that, the more it should move backwards a little bit too. So I feel like that's something I could easily chuck in there and test out later. This ain't looking bad. Chuck in some of those. One of these here. You know, some of these. I know there's foliage painting tools, but just like drag. Oh, these are these underwater? Oh, these are actual. These feel kind of tiny. Oh, there's a bush. Okay. Oh, duh. But that one is the underwater. Yep. That says underwater right there too. That bush there, and that one there, and that one there. There. All right, let's look at some bushes with full collision on. Yeah, it's because I dragged it in. Wasn't painted on at all. Just trying to grab onto a bush. Silly slime. All right, well, I'm decently satisfied with this progress here. So I think tomorrow we'll start on runtime virtual textures to understand how that works. Maybe either that or material functions. I just want to have a better understanding of what is even in this pack and how the pack works. And I know those are going to be two components of that. But I think that is it for me tonight. Appreciate you hanging out. Always glad that you're here, Bacon Guy. Appreciate you coming back all these times. And anyone else that stopped by in here. I know that we had a raid earlier from Mr. Shawnee B. Thank you, Shawnee. Appreciate it. And then everyone else that just wanted to hang out. It's nice having people here. So y'all take care. I will be here tomorrow, same time. So that's 6:30, between 6:30 and 7 Central Time, Chicago time. I will start my stream tomorrow, and then every Monday and Tuesday, unless otherwise specified. But yeah, appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Peace.